Welcome back, everyone. Time for better tech tips. So there's a popular myth that says Mac computers can't get viruses. But again, it's just a myth because that's not true. Macs are still vulnerable to viral attacks.
Here to talk with us today is Stan Prager of GoGeeks on the ways that you can protect your Mac from viruses. Now, we were talking about this last week because I have a Mac and I didn't realize it.
Ironic.
But
You realized you had a Mac. You didn't realize you could catch a virus.
Yes, well,
Yes.
a particular virus, but you were saying they don't get attacked much because not many people have them.
So there's about a 7.4%, not to be too precise, of all the computers, I just know that off the top of my head, of all the computers in the world that are Macs. So obviously they're not going to be targeted as frequently. If you're a criminal and you're looking to use a scattershot approach, you're not going to go after that. However, lately there's been kind of a ramp up of attacks on Macs because these criminals, yes, great, because criminals have become aware of the complacency that people like yourself have, which is really common. So it's ironic that you and I spoke about this last week, but even more ironic, I received a telephone call last night, a frantic telephone call from somebody, a young lady I think you might know. Her name is Lindsay Idaluca.
She told me that.
Every phone call she places is frantic.
Yeah, she texted me this morning at like 2 a.m.
Yes.
Mailing Stan my computer.
Exactly, that's correct.
Didn't you already clean it out for her recently?
Well,
though?
this is a different thing. So she kind of got, what she has on her system now isn't technically a virus.
Oh, okay.
She got lured into installing what's a quasi-legitimate Mac utility program, which is aggressively marketed through pop-ups that come up. And, it's a legal program, and it's supposed to improve your performance, but most people who have it on their system report it crashing their system. And it integrates itself deeply into the operating system, which is kind of like something getting into the DNA of your body. So it's really difficult to get rid of. So the short story for Lindsay was great chatting with her, and she is FedExing it to GoGeeks in East Longmeadow, and we are going to clean it for her. But I wanted to talk about it today because of that reason, the conversation I had with you last week, Britt, and the conversation I had with Lindsay. It just reminded me of how many people out there have this sense of complacency that, geez, it can't happen to me.
You're fine. And it can happen to your phones too, right?
It can.
Your iPhones.
It can. Yeah, it can happen. But, it's so much easier with your phone because as long as your pictures are backed up, you can just do a default factory thing and you're good to go. With your computer, it's generally a lot worse and a lot more significant. You can't just reload your own system unless you're a geek. And you don't have that geek look about you, so I don't think that you can do it.
That's why we have you here.
Exactly. So you should put antivirus software on your Mac. People in the past have not done that. Macworld rates Bitdefender antivirus for Mac as #1.
Do you have a favorite?
Well, I don't personally, but that's Bitdefender is the one that they're recommending. There are other ones out there, but you should put something out there. And just remember, just like with a Windows-based computer, don't click on anything that comes up.
Well, I was going to ask, is that just, and I know there's exceptions to every rule, but if you get a pop-up window that says, software out of date or install the security, better performance for the Mac, you probably shouldn't click on it, right? You want to determine this is legitimate before you do anything like install it.
Exactly. So you should pick up the phone and call somebody who knows something about it. And if your computer is acting weird, whether it's a Windows or a Mac, get it into a shop and have a look at it. We have a number of Macs come into our shop. Macs don't require virus cleans as frequently because, as I said, they're not getting targeted, but we have done several of them in the last few weeks. So it is happening, and, be aware of it because identity theft can happen to you and you. All of us, and if you have a Mac, you're not by any means invulnerable.
Gotcha. So would you call this a Mac attack?
I would. I would call it your Mac could be attacked, is what I've been calling it. So I don't want to get into copyright issues with the sandwich place. So I'm
With that, we'll leave it.
I'm being very careful.
Stan,
All
thank
right,
you.
thank you, Stan.
Coming up.